Hello lovely people and welcome back to my channel. Let's talk about my progress with the McGrath Sublime palette. So this is going to be my second update. I started the project in mid-October, I believe. Yeah, it was mid-October because it was before my son was born. I started this project pen, or actually I joined this project pen because it was originally started by Karen, Kat and Melissa, and I'm going to link my introductory video up in the cards for you so you can check it out. It's redundant for me to repeat every time what the project is about, how it started and all of that good stuff. So if you're interested in that, please check out the introductory video. I'm also going to link up my first update in case you would like to follow the progress of this project pen. But today is my, actually I think, last but one update, because after this I'm only going to do my final update again after the summer, and we're going to just see how I finalize this project pen. We are more or less halfway through, a little bit past the halfway point, and I just wanted to tell you how things have been going, what progress I have made with the palette, how I still feel about it, what my expectations of the prospects are, let's put it that way. So let's start with the good news. The good news is that I'm still completely in love with that palette. Having to use it more often because it's in a project pen did not in any way diminish my feelings for it. I still think it is an absolutely beautiful palette and I still have so much joy pulling it out and using it. So it is by no way an obligation for me to have to use this palette, which is a great relief for me because I was a little afraid that if I push myself to use it more often, I might develop somewhat more negative feelings for it. That is not the case at all. I'm very happy to report that. The next part of the good news is that I feel like I have made some progress with the eyeshadows. So this is how they're looking right now. I am going to mention a couple of individual shades just because I think some shades look some shades look better used than others, and I'm going to address that in a little bit. So I was originally planning on using the palette at least once a week. I think there was a point at which I used it quite often, and that was around the time that I was using my Project 5 wears with it, which I'm also going to link up here for you if you want to check it out. It's basically 5 different looks that I created with this palette. By the way, it is also the palette that I'm wearing today on my eyes. And I was using it a little bit more intensively around that time, so that was the end of last year and the beginning of this year. However, after that, mostly because I've been doing Project 5 wears and I've been using different palettes for it, and I've been so focused on not sticking to one palette but just trying to pull out different palettes, I feel like I neglected it for a little bit and then I picked it up again. So the last like 3-4 weeks I've really been trying to use it once a week. Even with using this palette once a week, I can already make a prediction that I'm probably not going to pan any of the eyeshadows. I'm looking at how they're looking right now, and I think there's very little chance that I'm actually going to pan anything by the end of this project pen, so around mid-October, because we are already at the halfway point and these eyeshadows have a massive size to them. You need the smallest amount because they're so pigmented, and like I said, I feel like using it once a week will just not cut it if I want to pan it. So, and I don't realistically expected that I will be using it more than once a week just because I have so many other eyeshadow palettes that I want to give love to. I have bought a couple of more in the meantime. Like I said, I'm also super excited about the Project 5 wear, so I don't want to stop with that. And I really don't want to make myself use the palette more often just for the sake of panning the eyeshadows. Maybe if I'm lucky I will pan one eyeshadow, or there will be like a teeny tiny dip in one of the eyeshadows, but there is absolutely no way I'm going to pan all the other eyeshadows. I don't know if any of the other ladies and gentlemen who participate in this Project 5 wears, this project pen are watching this video, but I'm actually very curious, how do you guys feel about this? Do you feel like you're going to make any progress? Do you feel like you're going to make a dip in your eyeshadows? Because I don't think so. I don't think I'm going to make any dip in my eyeshadows. So let's talk about a couple of the individual shades that I think I might be able to pan, or at least like make a tiny dent into. Obviously the first shade I have to address is the Blitzed Emerald shade over here, because I don't know whether you can see, but that one has a little bit of a dent over here, and because I kind of keep scraping that dent, I have hopes that maybe I'll reach the pan eventually. I keep comparing other greens to Blitz Emerald, and this shade is so stunning, so spectacular, so complex. No other green, no matter how beautiful, ever compares to Blitz Emerald. I absolutely love Blitz Emerald, and I think this shade, or maybe VR Nectar. One of these two is the shade that I'm probably going to put a significant dent into because they're two of my favorite shades in the palette. So the gorgeous Blitzed Emerald shade and the absolutely stunning duochrome over here, which is like a goldish, greenish, pinkish duo. These are my two favorite shades in this palette, and these are my only hope that I'm ever going to see any pan. I think this gold copper? How does she call it? Oh, she calls it something else, it's not a gold. Bronze, yes, she calls it bronze. This bronze shade over here is another one of my favorites, but I don't use it as often as VR Nectar and Blitzed Emerald, and I think this shade is so incredibly intense that you need the smallest amount of it, so I don't think I'm going to pan that shade. But yeah, this is pretty much where I stand. I think I have made some good progress. I am absolutely not disappointed in myself in how I'm progressing with this eyeshadow palette. I think it's just very unrealistic to think that eyeshadow pans of this size with usage only once a week you can ever pan. That's just the way it is. That's something I've learned along the way, and I think maybe if I had picked another eyeshadow palette like my Anastasia eyeshadow palettes, for instance, which have much smaller and much more shallow pans, I think using them once a week would definitely have resulted in a lot of pan. But Pat McGrath's eyeshadows are pretty massive, and unless you're using these eyeshadow palettes on a pretty regular basis, the chances of ever panning them is pretty small. Let's keep this short and sweet, guys. I don't want to bore you with my further ramblings. I just wanted to let you know how things are going, and I feel like, for me personally, it feels like they're on a more positive side. I still enjoy the palette and there's some progress made. What do you think? Do you own any of the Pat McGrath Big Mothership palettes? Have you ever panned anything? Let me know in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about my progress. I'm super curious how the other people who are participating in this project pan are doing. Thank you so much for watching. For this project pan, I will see you pretty much at the finale, which will be somewhere in October. And in the meantime, we're going to see each other definitely in other videos and definitely in my Project 5 Wear series. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy my content, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!